What are the chances of actually an oil glut this year?
Well, we're seeing clear signs that the global economy is slowing and oil demand growth is slowing. We had negative demand growth in China, hardly any growth in India for the past few months and in other Asian countries. So we're expecting oil demand growth for the rest of the year around 700,000 barrels a day. And while supply, as we all know, OPEC has announced that they will increase production, accelerate the unwinding of production cuts. And we're still seeing continued increases from non-OPEC producers, including the United States and Brazil. So the way our market balances are looking right now, we're seeing an oversupplied market for the remainder of this year and extending into 2026. So,
Toril, what happens to the market if OPEC Plus does increase by 400,000 like expected on June the 1st? What happens to the oil markets?
So what we're seeing, we do expect the increase to be slightly less than the nominal increase, both in May and in June, because a lot of the countries are already overproducing. That's including Kazakhstan, the United Arab Emirates, Iraq, and also Russia in the latest month. And a lot of some of the other countries are bumping up into capacity constraints. So we're expecting a slightly lesser increase, but we're already seeing the market pricing in this higher supplies and this oversupplied market, which is one of the reasons we see oil prices falling about $14, $15 over April and into May before recovering somewhat. And we're seeing other producers reacting, responding to the lower prices, in particular in the United States. The earnings season this year, the financial reports, we're seeing a lot of the independent producers cutting their spending plans for the year, laying down rigs. So we're expecting lesser growth in the United States in response.
But, Toril, I mean, I think there's something about, like, OPEC could actually increase production by 400,000 or a little bit less, but thereabouts until October. I mean, that's not priced in the markets right now.
Yeah, so we're seeing, I think the market is expecting the increases, is particular from Saudi Arabia. The biggest increase will come from Saudi Arabia. But of course, the market is also looking what's happening in Iran and Venezuela. We're seeing the United States putting increased sanctions on those countries. And while negotiations are underway in Oman for a nuclear deal, there's a lot of uncertainty what will happen to Iranian supplies. Yeah. Latest month, for April, we did see Iranian exports continuing at relatively strong rates of about 1.5, 1.6 million barrels a day. But we are seeing China taking less of that. So it's a question if we will have a significant supply loss with the new sanctions that are being put on regularly now over the past few weeks.
But so if Trump does reach a deal with Iran, how much idle capacity comes back online?
So it's a question. We're seeing now Iranian production about 3.4 million barrels a day in April. We think their capacity can be slightly higher, 3.7, 3.8. So there could be more, a few 100,000 barrels a day of supply to come. The question is more if sanctions are lifted, if there will be other buyers other than China that comes into the market. So, and alternatively, if sanctions are really new Chinese independent refiners and ports have been put on the sanctions list now. So if that pressure is maintained or even increased, we can see lower exports from Iran. So there's a lot of uncertainty there, depending on the deals that are being made and negotiated at the moment.
So Toril, for the moment, it feels like it's quite difficult actually to price a U.S.-China kind of normalization. But if prices stay low, does it kill off growth from U.S. shale?
We have reduced our U.S. shale forecast for the second month in a row this month due to the lower prices. And as I said, it's the U.S. producers already announcing cuts up to 9-10% in their capex spending from what they had planned earlier in the year. So we have cut our shale forecast by about 200,000 barrels a day for 2026. The biggest impact will come next year, not this year. So we do expect growth this year. Next year, we may see a decline in shale for the first time since 2020. And this is in response not just to higher OPEC supplies, but also to the weaker economic outlook and lower oil demand growth expectation as a whole.